Hello friend, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, back again with this background. It comes out really nice on camera. And so yeah, today I just wanted to sit down. So this morning I was reading my Bible, and I'm currently in Matthew. And you guys, I got to the parable of the sower in Matthew chapter 13. This is when Jesus is talking a lot in parables. And let me tell you, like, the amount of like little nuggets and lessons in this parable is really crazy. And so I just wanted to like share that with you. Honestly, I wasn't gonna film today, but then after this morning doing my devotion, I was like, wow, I have to share this. And so yeah, we are going to get right into this. Don't mind the sun because it's going like in up, like behind clouds, so the lighting is going to change a little bit. But this is what I ended up with over here. um, a little chaotic, but that's kind of how my brain works. And also it's a little windy because winter, and so yeah, don't mind that as well. All right, so let's hop right in. Okay, so I would encourage you to read it. I'll read some of it to you guys, but I'm not going to dive into the whole thing. And so how the like passage is structured is that Jesus gives the parable, and then he talks about something else, and then he gives the meaning to the parable at the end. And let me just share it with you guys. Okay, so this is Matthew chapter 13 from verse 1 to verse 23, and so I'd encourage you to read it if you don't like people like reading to you. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, just a little bit. Okay, so it says, that same day Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, okay, a farmer went to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came up and ate it. Some fell on a rocky place where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow, but when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and they withered because they had no root. Okay, and then other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seeds fell on good soil, where it produced a crop 160 or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let him hear. Okay, how crazy is that? Okay, and then I'm skipping down to verse 18. Okay, so verse 18 says, listen then to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their heart. Okay, and then it says, that is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. But since they have no root, they last only a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of this life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 160 or 30 times what was sown. Okay, so the first thing that struck me, and I'm just going to go in order, so there are 4 different scenarios here. Okay, 4 different scenarios, and yeah, 4 different scenarios. And the first thing that struck me is that in all the scenarios, every person hears the word and the message, but what happens from there is what distinguishes them. So no one person in the scenario didn't hear the word and they missed out because of that. No, every single person in each scenario, each of the 4 scenarios, heard the word. So the first scenario, right, the person hears, or rather, okay, seeds are sown, or some seeds fell along the path, but birds ate them. Okay, so they were seeds, you know, like scattered, they fell along the path, and obviously there's no soil on a path, and so birds just ate them, and birds love eating seeds. Okay, and so then what it says is that when anyone hears the message of the kingdom but doesn't understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their hearts. Now what stands out to me is that they hear the word but they don't understand it. Because of their lack of understanding, the enemy comes in and snatches what was sown in their heart. So the word was sown in their heart, and it could have taken fruit and grow. It could have grown. Okay, don't know. Clearly I've been out of school for too long. That seed was sown in their heart, but because of a lack of understanding, the enemies took away what could have been great, and isn't that crazy? Because of a simple lack of understanding, because of not putting an effort in to try and get understanding, because of no understanding, the enemy snatched up what could have been good. Okay, so that's the first scenario. And then the second scenario is some seeds fell on rocky places with not much soil, and this is me kind of paraphrasing. When the sun came, the plants were scorched and withered because they had no root. Okay, and this refers to someone who hears the word, receives it with joy, but has no root. Okay, that's the first part, and then I'll get into the next part. So how crazy is this? This person hears the word because they all heard the word, and they receive it with joy. How often after church are you like, yes, I received that, I'm so ready, right? You receive it with joy, but it has no root. And so because if a plant doesn't have strong roots going in the soil, then it's good. Obviously when the sun comes, then it's going to be scorched and die, right? But what got me, right, is it says, okay, so it has no root. Therefore, when trouble or persecution come because of the word, they fall away. So the trouble or persecution that comes, and that is referred to here, isn't because of other things. It's because of the word. It's because of saying, I hear this word, I'm a Christian, I am so ready, and I will shout this from the rooftop. Because persecution and trouble will come from that. And when it comes from that, that's when they fall away. That's when they don't have roots. Isn't that crazy? Oh my goodness, this parable just gets me. The trouble and persecution is because of the word. Something that struck me is that in verse 5, it says, some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. How crazy is that? So the word is received, the word is received with joy, and it springs up quickly because the soil is shallow. And so often some people you have to be careful not to be this, where you spring up quickly, you hear the word, you receive it, and there's fruit and fruit and fruit, but what hits me is that it sprung up quickly because the soil was shallow. And so seeds planted in deep soil will take time. They'll take time to break out of the shell, to break up out of the ground. I'm not discounting sharing the gospel and springing up quickly and having fruits quickly, but just beware, because it says it sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. And that part hit me because I read through the passage one last time before I finished reading this morning, and that struck out to me, that because the soil was shallow, the seed sprang up quickly. Ironically. Alright, and then so the next scenario is some seeds fell among thorns, which then grew up and choked the plants. Okay, and so this is someone who hears the word, but the worries of life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word and make it unfruitful. So there's three things here, right? So they hear the word, they receive it, okay, but the worries of life, and then this just gets me, the deceitfulness of wealth. Jesus knew what he was talking about. He didn't say the I don't know, but he knew these two specific things would get people: the worries of life and the deceitfulness of wealth, but it doesn't stay there. Okay, he then goes on to say, and this made it unfruitful. And how crazy is this? So I wrote here, their worries made them unfruitful. What? Because of all their worries and all these worries, and obviously with the deceitfulness of wealth, that made them unfruitful. That hit me, because how often and how quick are we to get into a spiral of worry, and get into a what if this happens, what if this happens, what if this happens? But that's a thorn that literally chokes up your fruitfulness for the kingdom of God. And then the last scenario is, it is definitely windy out here. Okay, some seeds fell on good soil and produced a crop 100 times, 60 times, or 30 times what was sown. Okay, And this is someone who hears the word, understands it, and produces fruit. And so what's crazy is that they hear the word, but it doesn't stop there, okay? And then they get true understanding on the word, and it doesn't stop there either, because if you hear and you understand but you don't do anything going forward, then you're not part of this group, right? So they hear the word, they understand the word, and then after that they produce fruit, right? And here what astonishes me is that the crop and the fruit produced was much more than the few seeds that were sown, right? 60, 30, 100 times more. That's a lot, okay? And doesn't just stop at understanding, but actually produces fruit. And something that just makes that a verse that it makes you think of is when Jesus is talking and he says that you will be judged by your fruit, right? The fruit that you produce as a child of the kingdom is what you'll be judged on, right? Like a tree, its fruitfulness is what you like judge it on, you know. And I think that's just so profound. I really think that it is, you know, like, and it's just checking our fruit, you know, because the one passage that always gets me, and it's so direct, and it's when Jesus is talking about the vine, right? And he says, I'm the vine and you're the branches, right? And he says that the vine that doesn't produce fruit will be cut from me and thrown into the fire. And sometimes I think, like, Lord, why is that so harsh? But at the same time, you know, he gives us all these opportunities to create fruit, you know. And that's not saying if you have a season of like creating a little bit of fruit, you know, or that you'll be cut off. No, that's if you're not creating fruit at all and producing fruit as a Christian, you know. And so yeah, crazy. So quick summary quickly before I finish off. First scenario, right? Here actually in all four scenarios they all heard the word, right? But first scenario, here's the word, doesn't understand it and doesn't try to get understanding, okay? The evil one snatches the seed sown in their heart. That seed was already sown in their heart and it was going to produce fruit, but that was snatched away by the enemy because of a lack of understanding, which actually I was listening to the Relationship Goals Reloaded sermon by Pastor Mike Todd, but what he was talking about in the very first like sermon of the series was that that the Hebrew word for ignorance means and I'll link it in the description below because you need to get into that. But basically the devil attacks the areas that we're most ignorant the most, the areas where there's darkness, and the Hebrew word for darkness means the same as ignorance, and the Hebrew word for light means the same as knowledge. And so as we get knowledge and understanding, that's when things are brought into the light, and the devil can't attack that. He can't snatch that from our heart. And I think so profound, you have to go listen to that sermon. But yeah, so first one, here's the message, doesn't understand. The evil one snatches that from their heart because of their lack of understanding, and because of their lack of understanding, the seed doesn't even take root. Oof. Okay, second one, they hear the word, receive it with joy. That's the part that gets me, with joy. Like, I feel like I've definitely been every single one of these at some point. But so they hear the word and they receive it with joy. They're not like ugh or like you know. They hear the word, they get it, they receive it with joy, and they spring up quickly. They're on fire, they're on like fire for God. They're like, yes, let's go. But because they have no roots, because they're in like shallow soil, right, among rocks, okay, when trouble and persecution comes because of the word, then they're scorched and fall away. All right. Third one, they hear the word, but the worries of life and deceitfulness of wealth choke the word and make it unfruitful. And so their worries make them unfruitful. Oof. Okay. And then the fourth one, they hear the word, they understand it, but it doesn't just stop there. And then they produce fruit after that, and they are fruitful. And the fruit that they produce actually ends up being far beyond what the like amount of seeds that were sown, because it's 60, 30, and 100 times what was sown. And so, your friend, the Bible just like it's the gift that keeps on giving, you know, because every time there's just like new things that just pop out to you and stand out to you. But honestly, I just wanted to share this because I thought, wow, there is just so much in this like 23 a branch just fell. There is so much in this 23 verse parable or like passage in scripture, you know, and I strongly encourage you to go read it yourself, you know, and check what I'm saying against the word, right? Go read it yourself, and I am telling you, new things will also stand out to you. And so wow, I hope you loved this video. I was talking a little quickly, and it was probably a little windy, but it's good to be outside, you know, and it is such a lovely day today. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you got something out of it. Go check out the relationship goals reloaded series. I'll link it in the description below. Also, don't forget to follow the Project Lumiere at the Project Lumiere on Instagram, and to like this video, to subscribe to my channel, turn on your post notifications because new videos every Friday. And yeah, I think that is it for today. Also, I just have to say, Maverick City Music are doing the most, and I've been loving their music. Like, discovered them recently and loving their music, and at the moment the song that's speaking to me so hard, and you know those songs that like you almost don't want to sing them because the words are so like strong. But the song is Refiner, and it is from I think it's their volume 2 album or volume 3. I think it was volume 2, so from last year. But anyway, really good. You should check them out as well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, friend, and I will see you next time. Bye.